Welcome to the Mystery College podcast. Today we're talking with Maurice Pye. Maurice is a member of the complete Evocation Course. He's also had years of experience in meditation, mindfulness, and other practices. Welcome to the show, Maurice.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So, can you share a little bit about yourself and share what kind of drew you to meditation, mindfulness, and then ultimately what drew you to the complete universal evocation masterclass or 60 skills, Mark Rasmus?
Yeah. Well, so when I was younger, like in high school, probably like around 15, I had like I had like a dog that died like really early, and I it like filled me with like rage. I'm like, how could God do this to me? Me and of all people. But yeah, like I like proclaim myself like I'm like, oh, God must not exist. I'm an atheist now. I mean, it's really just being young and rebellious. Um, and for a while, that's I guess what I thought I was. And I got into like psychedelics a lot around that time. And I was doing a lot of them, like way more than I should have for like a 16, like 17-year-old. And when you hit a wall like that, like you don't believe there's anything after life and you're not really doing much, like you're damn near flunking out of high school. You don't know what you want to do in the future. And then you're doing all these like psychedelic drugs. You hit this wall where you're like, what is even going on? Like, what is this all about? Like, I'm so confused. And around that time, a friend put me onto this YouTube series called Spirit Science, which is like a new age animated like series. And that gave me enough. That gave me enough of to chew on. And it also got me really into ancient civilizations. I was always into mythology, but in high school and middle school, I kind of fell off of it. And so and that was probably the best thing it did for me is put like a lot of some good ideas in my head, some bad ones, not a not a perfect series, but like it got me to start meditating, got me to start thinking about, ancient Egypt and all of these ancient cultures. And I got into like really learning about them and like spending a lot of my time, like all my free time watching stuff on ancient Egypt and the Aztecs and the Mayans. And so like that's really what started to turn my mind around. And it looked like that was enough to like set off something, because I ended up having like a Kundalini experience, pretty strong one, like a year after that. Like it was awesome while it was going on. Like it was like I could talk to fish. I was like seeing like weird like I was like seeing like the spirits of the land. And I'm like, I had no frame of reference for any of this either. I'm like, I don't know. I had no idea what to do. But after like a failed exorcism, and then like I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, after like a failed exorcism, and like some bad like experiences with my friends, I kind of fell back into like into fear, like into doubting myself. I had no fear back then. I just kept going. I was just like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. Like, let's just go, go, go. Um, and I could actually hear my HGA at the time, like in my ear. I didn't know what it was, but like I could actually hear my HGA like in my physical ear. And I started doubting it after some things that had happened, and then it just went away. Didn't come back for like 4 years. And yeah, I spent like honestly the better part of like 6 years just like being a regular person after that. So like from like 18 to like 24, I was collecting books on spirituality, like buying all of these magical books, like like if I could just flip the phone around, you'll see. But like just a huge library, thousands of books, collecting them, interested in all this spiritual stuff, but not doing any of it. Like I did enough to heal myself. Like I had a root problem that happened, and I did enough to like get my earth to the point where I wasn't feeling pain anymore. But like after that, I just coasted, enjoyed being a regular person, traveled a lot. And then I bought like this, I'm not going to say the name of a book, but it's a book that you should not practice anything out of. I bought this book and I started practicing some things out of that, got some effects. It was really cool. But then a lot of crazy stuff started happening. Like I started seeing like, my astral senses turned on. I started seeing like huge like anacondas like going through my room, like in my astral space, and like frogs and stuff. And then eventually like this, I'm not even going to describe it, something really gross. And I got really into like ritual magic just to help my space out, just to like clean out my space. And that's like, I got really into ceremonial magic, like the Golden Dawn tradition. Damien Eccles has like a great audio course on that. I think the best book really written on it is John Michael Greer's Circles of Power. And then like Damien Eccles, like he really strips it down in that, like the Golden Dawn system. And then Damien Eccles strips it down even further. He's like, you don't need any ritual implements. I was in prison doing this with a Dixie cup. And so I did I like used a lot of what Damien Eccles was teaching me, and then also Jason Louv at magic.me. I used their stuff to clean my space up and get on the right path. And yeah, I mean, like even after that, like my space was like I stopped banishing for a week. Like I went somewhere for like 3 days, and I came back and I tried to go to sleep without banishing. There was like 20 dead people in my room. There's like 20 skeletons. I'm like, what? And I tried to go to sleep because I was so tired. I'm just like, you know what? I don't even care. And then like they had a sense of humor. I will say that about them. Like one of them like laid down like next to me, and I tried to go sleep. Like I tried to turn over and just like laid down. I'm like, oh my God. And yeah, I got up and I had to get him out of there. But yeah, after that I went really ham on ritual magic until I hit a critical mass, and everyone started looking like the same person. Took a break again and got into Bardon. After like a summer of doing like just going through like the first 4 steps of Bardon, I found like Your Material, 60 Skills, and Mark Rasmus. I learned a lot from Mark Rasmus's like YouTube stuff. Like I experienced ego death, I think for like at least the first time in like years, like just completely sober too, in just watching a video of his. Like I was just mirroring him, and he described like putting your consciousness like right here, and I just like unconsciously just did it with him, and I was like, whoa. I'm like, where'd I go? And that was awesome. Like a lot of experiences happen like that. A lot of experiences where I was just watching Mark describe something like, oh, this is how you akashically breathe, and I just started akashically breathing. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, so I was just like, from mirroring you guys, I learned a lot really fast. Like, and I was pretty much just doing that for a while. Then I bought your course, and it sat on my shelf for like 3 months, my internet shelf. And I finally picked it up in like the beginning of spring, and I went through like the first 4, like, yeah, I was watching like the first couple of videos and really went through it. And then like once I invoked the first spirit, I was in this chair, facing a different direction, but I was in this chair, and I was like, oh, like when I let, like, what was it, fire him down?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, this is cool. And then you're like, okay, well, if you feel a connection, you can let him down into the astral. And then when I let him down into the astral, I was like, it was like, it was better than any roller coaster I've ever been on. Like, it was like a super strong connection. I'm like, whoa, what the hell is this? And yeah, that was, after that I was hooked. And I did the rest, like the next 4 in the same day. Then I went through like the planetary attunements, I think the day after that. You know, it's really weird. That same day, like when I got done with like the 4 spirits, I had like this incense holder, and I watched it like go from like over here, and just watched it jump over here. I'm like, huh. And I was like, I felt like I don't know what that means. It felt like I like moved timelines. I'm like, oh, there's a you that didn't do this, and now there's like a you that did. In this universe. Don't know if that's true, but like,
I love that, like big paradigm shift. Like,
yeah, you said it could change your life in the course, and I'm like, it really did. It really did. There's a couple. There's a Jupiter spirit. I think it's Zael, and yeah, if it wasn't for that Jupiter spirit, like there's so many people I wouldn't have met. Like it made me move in like a week. You're like it didn't like this. Like what it grew in like my unconscious mind. Like I had like this plan of being like a musician. Like I'm just like, we're gonna do it. And I moved like the next week after invoking that one. Really wild detour. But I had a lot of fun. And yeah, I just went ham. I went ham on the through your course and just invoking a bunch of different stuff. A lot of different gods, a bunch of different systems. Things I was wondering if it was weird or real. I'm like, is the master of the universe a thing? I know there's masters of planets. And so I have fun experimenting with that.
Yeah, sounds like you like really got the gist of the mechanics of the system, and then you're able to not only work through like the entire course itself, but you're also able to use the principles and the metaphysical mechanics to then be able to pathwork other systems using the exact same principles in the course. Like you worked with some other gods from other systems, deities, some other beings.
Yeah,
that's really awesome. Tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so I went through vodun and like Ifa, or yeah, I went through Ifa. Then not through like, I only worked with one spirit out of Ifa, Ishu, and then I went through like vodun, working with a bunch of different of the spirits. And yeah, like traditionally you would go through Legba first. He would be like the door opener, but I just went straight to, I think, Dambala, and then I worked with like the Gede, like Papa Gede, like that's like the, you know, Lord of the Dead pretty much.
Yeah, that's intense.
And oh yeah, and I didn't know you shouldn't do the finger serving spirit thing with every single spirit you work with. So every single spirit I worked with, I would do the finger serving spirit thing. And so I have a funny story about this. So I did the Papa Gede one like right before I went to go see Ant-Man with my mom. She wanted to go see Ant-Man, so I went with her. And I asked him for 2 serving spirits, and he attached them to these 2 fingers. And I was like in the car with my mom. I'm like, what's that smell? And it was like probably the 2 dead people sitting in the back seat that I brought along with me to this trip. So I was like, oh my gosh, there's like, I have dead people in the car with my mom right now. And I'm like, all right, she can't smell them, but I can. And I had to go into the bathroom and fix that. I'm like, I like opened up my circle. I'm like, you know, you don't have to be on my fingers, guys. And and then we went and enjoyed the movie. But yeah, that's why I learned that you don't do that with like every single spirit, and specifically with the ones in vodun.
Mm-hmm.
When you get serving spirits, I'm not sure if when I'm down serving spirits from them, it gets like the dreams and just like are so weird. Like if they're like close by you, it's like, oh my God, it's just not what I'm used to. So like experimenting with that's been fun. All good experiences. Uh, yeah, working with the Egyptian Neteru, that's been cool too. Some of like Hathor gave me one of my most like intense experiences. But like I've heard 60 skills say this before, like how the spirits reflect off of you. And when I was like not doing as well as I did like when I first invoked some spirits, and like I was like in the worst mental space, and I invoked them again, like got a completely different reaction. It was like they were a different spirit. Like I remember I invoked that same Netzeru recently, and it like halfway through the invocation was going really well, and then I like kind of lost focus, and it like turned into like a big owl and like flew away. I'm like, what the hell? Like I didn't even know that was a thing. Like I didn't know that they could even do that. And I try to like call it back a little bit later, and I'm like, all right, are you back here? And I like dropped it down into the astral, and it like turned into this like huge platypus looking thing, like just swirling around right here. I'm like, hey, all right, you can go. Sorry. I'm like, I gotta clean up my mind before I work up with, like, before I start doing this again. And yeah, like I've been thinking a lot more about that. I'm like, all right, what am I bringing to the table? Because before I was living a very quiet lifestyle for a long time. I was doing a lot of magic, and through just many distractions over a couple of months, I've just gotten more into like my head, and I've like mostly come out of it now, but like getting back to where I was, it's like what I've been doing like the last month is like, all right, let me try to like put this all together. And that's the good thing that came out of it, is I wasn't doing I would like invoke mostly and barely do any like ceremonial magic. Now I'm doing both, and things are like, really heating up. So I'm putting everything I've learned together now, and that's been really fun.
Yeah,
I went all over the place there, but
yeah, you went in a lot of awesome directions. Like I loved hearing about the, translating the course materials and then applying that to vodun practice, and the I forgot the acronym you used for the I don't know the acronyms so well, but yeah, one question I was wondering about was when you were connecting with those spirits and the beings from that pantheon. What are some ways that you like were able to separate from like some of the astral baggage behind those beings? Like, did you find that you had a cleaner connection than maybe if you'd initiated those connections before having taken the course?
yeah, because I would have went to them more as like so you read books on like voodoo, and you'll like you'll get a lot of personality stuff about it. Like, oh, they like this, they like rum and cigars, and put a dirty hat that's kind of tattered like on their altar because they like to wear it, and like you could poke out a one lens of a sunglass and put it on there too, and that stuff's all fun, and I I personally am a fan of it as the idea. Do I have the time or the space to do that? No, not at all, not at the moment. So like when I went to them, I kind of, through what I learned in the course, I try to go as high as I can, like through non-dual light, and just make that connection. So I'm really just saying what's up to the spirit. I'm really saying it like I'm doing this like through light. It's as simple as connecting with any, like sometimes I don't even use like names for the spirits. I'm just like, Mercury spirit number 42. And I'm like, it'll just come through and I'll read what it does after. I'm like, and that's kind of how I approach like everything, as long as it's not too weird or like too chaotic. Like I'll know enough to know what I'm walking into. Like there's some spirits in voodoo, and at least like one spirit in voodoo that you shouldn't do that with. Like probably even through the method that like we use. But yeah, I mean, like you should know enough to know what you're walking into, but unless you're gonna practice it like the people from there, if you're doing it this way, then really do it this way. Like really try to, maybe you need to saturate your mind in Akasha or connect through Akasha, then through the light, and like let it down like that. That can get you an even cleaner connection if you get like some Akasha going on top and then you let it through that. I just started doing that. But so I got a clean connection before that. And yeah, I think if you just keep the idea of the light and you're connecting through the brotherhood of light, and really, I don't have a too hard a time of getting out of the way. So my whole focus is just like merging with the energy, with the spirit, with what I'm letting through here. Yeah, I've had some really good experiences like that, like going even like Ifa with Ishu. That's opened up some psychic doors for me. That's been really cool. And yeah, I'm trying to think of what other traditions have I worked with. Yeah, I just worked with some of the Greek gods. They don't really have a lot of energy like that, but they're still like kind of cool programs to work with. Like they still got something going on. I remember I let Aphrodite in. Like I can get into like a really subtle state. I let out Aphrodite in, and she taught me like a bunch of hand dances that were kind of cool. I was moving all around like I was like a belly dancer, and yeah, it was.
Yeah. Sounds like she pulled in some good gestures, mudras, embodiment of the aphrodisiac kind of energy.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, like sometimes that doesn't happen too often, but like usually with the more, if it's either got to be like a really hyper spirit, like an air spirit, or like a very feminine one. Like I remember the other day I invoked like a water spirit, and it was like pointed towards my ears. It's like, you can't hear me, your ears are clogged. And it was like start going like this to like calling me like a crybaby. I'm like, oh my god, like you got a sense of humor, huh? And so yeah, it's fun. It's a weird world out there. Yeah, as long as you're going into it with a good attitude and some sense, like you're gonna have like a great time.
Totally. And any experience with like extraterrestrials, aliens, like any of the like beings of the spheres that particularly resonated with you?
My favorite spirits to work with, like planetary wise, would probably be Mercury, Venus, Mars. Yeah, those are probably, like, I was very trepidatious to go in to the Mars spirits, but I vibe so well with the Master of Mars. I'm like, oh, let me see what the rest of these are doing. And it's funny because like the Deacon of Libra that some of the Mars spirits are in, the ones of Venus both give you, like, at least for me, both gave me visions. But the visions I got from like Venus, they're like these impressionistic paintings that you see in a museum. And it's just like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. It's like one after the other of just like, oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then I went to the Mars spirit in that same Deacon, and it was like dragonflies like being born, and it was like fungus like blooming. And I'm like, this, and the vibe was completely different too. I'm like, this is cool in like watching like Planet Earth type of way, but this is like such a different vibe. It's like so I like spheres specifically in that Deacon of Libra. I've noticed have a cool artistic vision effect that I liked a lot. What else? I just like working with the Sun Spirit beings. Like, not really maybe. I like Kesbets. Kesbets is a good one. Who else? Yeah, I like quite just working through them. I like to do that and then like work Venus right after. It's a good balance. And then the Mercury beings like have a very pronounced effect on my personality and like how my it's like the hemispheres in my brain like balance more. Like I'll come out of Mercury invocation and like my martial arts skills are so much better. Or like I'll be able to like read aloud a lot better, and it'll be in like a poetic cadence. Like I'll just be able to like just be able to flow in that type of way. And it's like, oh my God, this is great. And yeah, I've had beings from Venus visit me like when I wasn't invoking them either. Like while I was like sleeping, like they just like showed up and like to take me out of my body. And then like so yeah, that's been cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. They helped you out with some astral projection, OBE, mental wandering. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's good. When you start opening those doors, it's really an awesome path. And the dreams from Mercury that I've gotten just from working with those Mercury spirits has been just amazing. Like full, like I won't even be in the dream. Like we were talking about this before, but yeah, like I won't even be in the dream. Like it'll just be like I'm watching a movie and I'm just like switching point of view and I'm like just cuts, there's like overhead shots. It's like written well. I'm like, what the heck? Or like I guess written, but you know, like so it's been a lot of fun working with the spheres. It's been so much fun that I forget about the elements sometimes. So I'm going back to the elements and like trying to balance it. Like have like today I had earth spirits in my vital and then like planetary beings in my astral mental, and was just working through that for a while. No, Osmodel from Jupiter, really great with the heart chakra. And what else? Yeah, that's what's on the playlist.
That's a real playlist. Like,
yeah,
got all the songs, all the vibes. Like, in sequence. I love it. So
Air was my spaceship for a while. That's what it felt like.
Air was your spaceship.
When I was doing the attunements, like 3-year course, that's what it felt like. Sit in this chair in the middle of my room. I'm like, all right, here we go. And
is ready to blast off.
Exactly.
Awesome. Love it. And do you feel like what are some ways that you feel like the course prepared you for doing this practice, and where do you feel like, you know, with your experiences you had before, like that you were already pretty well prepared for what was going on? Like what were like some of the cool like switches in the course, and then where were things that you brought something really cool and new to the table, like the vodun practice, right? Like that's awesome. I think you're the first person I talked to who's worked extensively with vodun and the course.
Yeah. So what I personally, I think what I came in with is like I had one invocation experience before I even knew what magic was. It was because of my HGA. It told me like stand in the mirror like this, like with my hands out and like a cross. My arm started burning. It was like forever. I'm like, what the hell is supposed to be going on? And in the mirror, I have a really large mirror. It's a little bit bigger than my wingspan, and I got a wingspan. And the mirror came out and like went through me. And like when it got to my ears, it felt like I had like a rod like going through my ears. I'm like, and then I felt like I had like, it was like someone like balanced like something huge. Like it felt like a planet got balanced on my head. And a couple of moments later, I saw this ram head appear with all the constellations on it, like in its like horns and like what it was made of, and it was like over my head. I'm like, whoa. And it like gave me a message, and I was like, all right, that was kind of short. And then I was just kind of standing there for a while. I'm like, what I do? And I just kind of looked like an ass after that, because I was just like, I just started asking it a bunch of shit that I had no interest in, and I just like went away after a little bit. But yeah, it gave me a message, like it told me like a thing to do, and I was like, all right. I still have trouble doing it. Like I was like 8 years ago. I'm like, I still have not followed that order. If I did, I'd probably be in a completely like different place in life right now. But yeah, like that was my first experience invoking, and through the ritual magic, I learned how to astral project through that. I learned how to perceive energy. Not as well as like what just doing the chi ball. So like I think the chi ball part of the course, and like doing that through like Mark Rasmus's videos on YouTube, as well as just like I think the first time I tried the 3 transformations was in your course, and like the transmission of Kasha and the light of the evocational magician, really really helpful. And yeah, even the mental wandering with the sylphs, and like the generating the elements in your body, all of that was really awesome. I really loved doing like the fire one. Like you can have a lot of fun with that one. I was like, you push it out, and I started going like, yeah, like just really having fun generating fire. So all that was really fun. It was like a very good preview for like what the actual invocations of those elements would be, because air felt awesome too. Like I remember when I invoked the air spirit, I started like my feet started moving around on the ground, and I got very hyper. And like when I invoked air, I just felt I was bouncing all around and just having a great time after. Like when you generated yourself, I mean. And like the earth one, like when I invoked Mentafil, like you just felt super solid. Like first contact's crazy. First contact with all those spirits is like, it's like, whoa. And so yeah, that was a great preview for what you're about to get into. I loved all of it. I loved every part of the course. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I think that was a big help. I guess the biggest thing with like before I even came in was having the background in like energy and doing some of the Vardhan practices. Like I knew what it felt like to bring in elements in yourself, like I had zapped myself so many times just through magic. Like I just did pentagrams and like passed out in the circle, like just so I was very prepared to work once I got in there and keep going. And I knew how special what I was having was too, because I had tried invocations the ritual magic way. Like Aleister Crowley has one of Thoth, and I'm like, I kind of felt something, I guess. And like just like invoking elemental felt way crazier than that. And like it, so I knew what I was getting too. So I knew the value of it, and I think that helped a lot. Which is like when you try this, you try that, like and then this really works. I was very appreciative, and I was like, all right, let me keep doing this.
Yeah, and was there like a specific challenge that you experienced with the course, and was there a way that you were able to overcome it? Like, what was like something that kind of was like tricky or not great about the course? Like maybe some part of it was a little ambiguous, or it was like, oh, how do I do this? Or it's like, oh, I don't know if I should proceed because I have an awkward knot in my stomach about this one video or being.
Well, it wasn't really I didn't know if I was doing a magical circle thing right immediately. Um, that was like probably the only thing I could possibly name. Is like I was like, all right, am I getting this magical circle thing right? Now it's my favorite thing. Like I can open up a circle there, circle there. Oh, let me open up a small one around my fingers. Like I had so much energy in my circle at some point that my neck would bulge out when I like would open it around me. So like you can't, it's hard to do in public. So I would open it around my two fingers. I'm like, oh, I guess you can do that. And now I'd invoke energy, whatever I had stored in there, I'd put into my bodies, just like through one finger or something like that. The problem is those fingers, if you have like a crap ton of energy in there, like those fingers like end up getting a workout. Uh, um, so yeah, the biggest challenge in there ended up being like one of my favorite things about it. Yeah, I figured out a bunch of cool stuff. I want to learn more about what you have to say about like I've heard that there's different types of circles and stuff like that. All I know is making either a really big one or a really small one. Or I could like put one over there, put it on something, store energy, let it out of it. That's as extensive as my knowledge goes about circles.
Totally, yeah. And I love how you translated like the macro and microcosmic application, macro and micro gestures for the circle, right? Like you can make tiny circles or massive circles, and there doesn't have to be just be one circle, but there's many. Like, and you came into that intuitively, which is awesome. Yeah, and we work with that circle we worked on. Like we're working mainly with the Kabbalistic letter E. Like that helps you materialize or dematerialize anything or all your resources or any energies you built up, and also store it. Thus you could dematerialize it, like store it and then rematerialize it and activate it like that. But like you can make magical circles for other stuff too, like teaching or for healing, pretty much anything. Or you can even play and sync it up with any of the different Kabbalistic letters, formulas. But the letter E, that's like the mothership of all the frequencies or all the energy you can pull through and store. So like that's kind of like the baseline. That's like the foundation. So that's just a little fun tidbit.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so did you felt like supported throughout the experience? Like, do you feel like you were able to contact me at any time, like with thoughts, concerns, questions?
Oh, I definitely did. Yeah, I was having my question about like I'm like, oh, should I not be getting servant spirits for like every single spirit I work with? I asked you about that. You're like, oh no, I just had you guys do that with the elements so that you're elementally for equilibrium, like on the astral. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right, thanks. Um, so yeah, whenever I had a question like that, or when I was wondering things, like you were definitely there and helpful. And yeah, I even when showing this stuff to other people, you gave me like some good warnings on like, hey, maybe I only take people up to like up to Venus, you know, for various reasons. So yeah, that was very very helpful. You're definitely easy to contact. So, and then yeah, like you've been asked you about the mental wandering videos, and you ended up posting some of those, which is awesome. And so yeah, very helpful. Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, you're welcome. Do you have any like advice for folks who may be like considering taking this course? Like what kind of preparation they might need or mindset going into it?
Well, I think as long as you focus on the beginning exercises, like just washing your thoughts and building chi ball, you're good. Yeah, 3 transformations as well. Don't sleep on that one. So yeah, those 3, if you focus on those 3 in the beginning of that course, which are very easy exercises, very easy. I think you can find videos of all those things on YouTube, like through you, Mark, or 60 Skills. So yeah, it's crazy because of how much you can do, but it's very much, I think, a beginner's course. Like it's the very beginning of what you'll be able to do, and it takes you from zeros and brings you all the way to 100. So yeah, I just say if you're curious, if you've gotten this far to where you're looking at you or looking at me, probably a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. Um, what are some areas or ways you plan to like further or deepen your practices and insights, like regarding invocation, evocation, mental wandering, and other kind of things you worked on through the course?
So right now, I think the it's weird because I feel like I'm going back to basics. I'm like, I probably could meditate more. Just straight up sit down and meditate. Um, I think that, getting better at learning more about psychology, learning more about my environment in different cultures, and exploring those through the methods that I learned through the course, and especially getting past the cultural baggage too. Like, oh, you see this, God that these people are worshiping, or like what's going on there. So yeah, like that's where I'm going right now. Like my next two frontiers are like ATRs in Kabbalah, like learning more about Kabbalah, learning more about like African traditional religions, and yeah, I haven't. I've barely done anything with India or China either. But like that's um that's less of a priority. I feel like I could like this is more down the line. I'm like, all right, let me go see what's over east. Maybe I'm working my way that direction because I've done like nothing with Europe outside of Greece either. So like I'm working my way around the world. Um, it's been I have a lot of books on different cultures, and I think as I go through them, I'm gonna see what's up, knock on a couple of dusty doors. So
Sounds great. It sounds like real adventures that you can have.
yeah,
And
yeah,
knowing you have the master key to unlock any door that you please. And it's kind of, it's amazing. It's awesome, but it's also a little terrifying because you can unlock every door.
yeah. I mean, I feel like at, at this point, yeah. I mean, you gotta be have some wits about you, but also like I think fearlessness helps. Like when I've taught people, I think that's like the one thing that like um it's important to have is like is being fearless. You know, of course, don't just jump off a cliff for no reason. But if there's water at the bottom and part of you's like, hey, I want to dive today, but I'm scared. It's like, you know, you have a good reason to not dive if you're not gonna not dive. Like make sure it's a good reason. It's not just because you're afraid, you know. It's like I don't know if there's rocks down there or not. Like, all right, that's a pretty good reason. That's
Right.
so so yeah, like being fearless is important. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's important. I think especially if you're because I mean when you're a magician, you're really in the adult world now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Great way of putting it.
yeah. So when you're a magician, you gotta, you're out here. You're like in the big world now. Things can see you, and and you can see them. Hopefully, maybe sometimes not. Hopefully, um. So yeah, it's there's tons of options right now. Like I'm in a period of using all of my resources and like studying more. I think I've realized how valuable education is. And so just learning as much as I can, like about a bunch of different topics. And then now just being able to like dive into them through invocation, like I'm learning about something culturally. meditate on topics and get revelations. Even ask spirits about certain things. I can really learn a lot, you know, and I want to. I want to learn as much as I can. Put that into my writing. Hopefully help someone out along the way. One or two people at least.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, would you mind sharing a little bit about like some advice you've given to other people? Like, because there has been a few people that you've taken through this process as well, using some of your background and then also some of the foundations of the course, and you've taken them through the invocation process. Is that correct?
Yeah, a couple. Only like two through like what I would say like is like the true invocation process. There's like one other person I showed him how to make a chi ball, like showed him what like Akasha was and like generating the elements and stuff. We didn't get to like really invoking. But yeah, there's so you were wondering like what about showing people that, or like what did I tell them?
Yeah, I'm wondering like if you were to advise someone, you know, like say online, for example, what's the advice you'd give to them like before hopping on this train? Because one thing you said was to be fearless, like, and I resonate with that too. I wonder if there's any other tidbits you'd give or things to help calibrate people.
Consistency. You know, I haven't been always like the best over like super long periods of time in the past, but I've been obsessed in the past. So I'll be consistent for like 8-9 months. You know, I'll be really hitting it hard. Now I've entered a period of balance where I'm doing things like every single day, and the extreme side of me is kind of like run its course, at least in that type of way. So I'd say consistency, like work with an energy. Like if you have a good vibe with the spirit, work with it a bunch. Like say, oh, that really went well. Like keep working with it, like every day. Figure out what force I don't hear enough hermetists talk about this. Figure out what force balances out that other one and work that one too. That's one thing that the ceremonial magicians, like you'll hear them talk about more. It's like when they work Mercury, they also work Jupiter, like across the tree of life, It's like a lot, like when they work Venus, they also work Mars, Then they work the moon and Saturn. I'm not sure where they got that, but like it does seem to work out. I think it might be different if you're like really, really invoking it, because like the ceremonial magic, you're kind of just blasting yourself with the energy. And like it doesn't really teach you how to use it. Like when I was going through the attunements, like I didn't really get magnetism. I just like, what were you guys even talking about? And I remember after the moon invoke attunement, I could just like make a magnetic field in my hand, like push them together, pull them apart. Like, and I didn't even need to be told that. Like it just downloads straight in, and I just did it immediately. I'm like, oh, this is magnetism. Awesome. Like, and it's similar with like Venus. We're like Venus. I remember I would like after like charging it up a bunch, I went to a bar and I brought like a server over with a green hand out of my aura. Like I just made a green hand and like put it on the top of their head, and they just started looking down, and then they like just walked right over to me like it was their idea. And and you just kind of like, if you working with these energies, working with these different spirits, you kind of just figure it out, especially if you're consistent. If you give it too much, also don't do drugs. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you're consistent and you don't do drugs, usually the transmission goes in through pretty well. Like it's, at least don't do them the same day you invoke. Like you want that transmission to like get through cleanly.
Totally.
And
then there's some drugs that might like affect that outcome more, like cigarettes. It's it's probably not the best for your health, but it's not gonna dirty the transmission so much. But like but like alcohol, tends to be one that's hard, really difficult for people. Marijuana seems to be pretty, like, for many people, it blocks up and clogs things up. And then, but like, and then psychedelics, you know, have their place, but like, you know, usually not. I personally wouldn't mix those two. But
definitely not your first time working with the spirit or working with energy. Like, definitely wait, like get it down first, you know. From my experience, like that completely like washes out the connection, whatever download you got from like the spirit. It's like you don't even remember where it was. Like, shit.
Right.
So yeah, I mean those are the biggest ones. Just be consistent, fearless, try to stay sober, at least on the same day that you're invoking.
I think one reason I recall is because, like, when you're connecting with with a spirit, like, you need to take ownership of the frequency that they're sharing, and be able to get it as clean a signature as possible, so you can, like, so that tuning fork in you activates. But sometimes substances like take us out of that, it can take us out of the equilibrium, and it's much harder to have equilibrium with any, you know, substances, whether that's like sometimes food can take us out of balance, or not having enough water, or sleep. So there's a lot of things to consider when before like getting into practice.
Yeah. And I like what Ron Clark says also about he says when you start your hermetic practice, like, give yourself like a week sober, you know, like really learn who you are, like make sure, like, give yourself a week just out of everything. And I think it's no different with the invocation course, which, like, you really learn how these things like affect you, you know, because that's changing your psychology. It could be everything, you know, it could be really like something that can help you out with whatever you're working on, and or push you in like the right direction. So yeah, like if you can learn who you are, I would even say from nicotine, give it like a week break. But yeah, from my experience, nicotine is not that bad to have the same, like even the same day. It doesn't really affect you too much. If you're feeling too jazzed up, or like you're too like sometimes nicotine could help. But yeah, that's that's one of like the main things. I'd be like, yeah, give yourself a week sober, stay consistent. Forget what else I said with that thing too.
Yeah. I would just be interested to explore that too, because I've gotten that question a few times recently too, especially with marijuana. It seems to be for people that are like, I don't really want to give that one up. Like,
yeah, no, they don't.
Yeah.
Damn stoners.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, let's see. Yeah, I think that covers like the scope of kind of questions I wanted to explore with you. Like, is there anything else you would want to like share with folks who are tuning in right now?
Not really. I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants with all this.
Doing flawlessly too, man.
Oh, thank you. So it's been fun for me. Yeah,
it's been really fun. Yeah, I hope to chat with you again soon on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. You know, we'll see what's up in a couple months or something.
Yeah, sounds good. Talk soon.
Right. See you.